Tracy.
I'm Rahana Power.
And today we have Joy Ford joining us. Hello, Joy.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're excited to chat and get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah, thank you.
Before we dive in, we have a lot of questions to walk through with you, but can you tell us a little bit about yourself outside of film? Tell us something, fun, interesting, and unique about you.
Yeah. I come from a big family, 7 kids total. And we were all homeschooled, so that's pretty interesting. And then I was also going to mention my grandma was from Latvia, and I actually got to go there a couple years ago. So that was really cool to just kind of trace back some family history.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
How, it's touching on the first one, how was not only being homeschooled, but with 6 siblings in one household?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun, definitely chaotic at times, but we all had our own kind of creative things that we were into, and we just had a lot of fun growing up, and a lot of time spent outside because we were from kind of rural Minnesota. So yeah,
you had space to roam. You didn't have to.
Oh yeah,
be all bunched up in the house.
Run around. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Exactly. Yeah.
Nice. That, I feel like that would be a really unique experience. That's super cool.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you would have your own classroom there of 7 or, well, not the same age, I guess, but,
Yeah.
Are you all pretty close, like at least like with like a year apart or something, or is it pretty wide range? So you had a little bit more space as you're learning in the same spot.
Yeah, I mean, each of us are about like 2-3 years apart. So, yeah, my oldest brother is quite a bit older than me, and then my youngest brother's just 2 years younger. But so, I mean, we definitely kind of had chunks of us like younger siblings, and then the older siblings who ended up, moving out before we had, while we were still around there. So,
yeah, nice.
Wow,
that's really cool.
Yeah. And then Latvia. How was that?
It was beautiful. I mean, I had no idea really what to expect. The old town Riga is just really beautiful. It's still like, just the old colorful buildings, like you can still imagine what it maybe looked like and, back around the war and stuff. And I also have a cousin that lives out there, so it was nice to visit with her and her kids. So.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really cool. How fun.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Joy, you're an actress, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any other functions besides acting? Do you do anything else too, or?
As a career, well, job-wise, I suppose.
Or within film,
Oh yeah. Well, I'm trying to also work kind of on the crew side as well. I got to be second AD on a short film last fall. That was really fun. That one is called Blight. It's not out quite yet. But yeah, and then just kind of helping around where I can and just hoping to jump more on the other side of sets as well.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so we'll kind of poke at that in a bit, but
Sounds good.
What while you're homeschooled, what was the direction leaning towards acting? Like, what got you set on the path for that?
Yeah, that is a good question. So, I mean, I would kind of say like a lot of people, when you're young, you like are intrigued by acting. And for me specifically, being homeschooled, it kind of felt like my eyes to the outside world, or at least what I imagined that it would be. Obviously, it's a heightened reality. But it was just, I could see different ways of life and different perspectives, and just, kind of be in awe of that and be like, oh, I want to do that too. That's awesome. Or, just be inspired to try something new in life. So,
nice. So you're on this path and you decide that this is what you're really interested in, this is what you wanted to do. When did you get to take on your first film role? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah. So my brother Matthew, he's just the age bracket right above me, my older brother. He was super into film, so he would, always show me different movies and just very, kind of anything, from like Quentin Tarantino, Tim Burton to musicals and all sorts of things. So we had just like a VHS camcorder that we would try to make movies on. And so like the first role that I can think of was just, we were trying to make like a zombie movie. And I just remember we were just trying to like chase each other around the yard and pretend we were gonna, eat each other or whatever. So.
That's really fun. Did you make a lot of films like as you were growing up together to like kind of get you really going, or?
Yeah, just like little things like that. I was actually very shy growing up. So I felt really self-conscious a lot of times and would, I'd kind of be a little bit more of the observer when that stuff was happening, but I would jump on camera when I could. And I used to make with a friend of mine just like lip syncing videos. So we'd turn on like Christina Aguilera or something and then just lip sync and, just record that and be like, yeah, we're so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, when was your first or what was your first role like once you kind of got to like this level? Like auditioning and getting into the community and all of that?
Yeah, that is a good question as well. I suppose, my first, I guess, more main role, just in a short film, which was actually with the same people I did Alien Hunter with. We did just like a horror comedy back in like beginning of 2018. So that was kind of around the time where I was thinking about switching career paths and just like, I really want to do acting. And it was kind of an opportunity to do that and be like, oh, I really love this. So that, and then like, once I started booking things, like with my agencies, I would get commercials and different things like that.
Yeah. Interesting. Was there, like, you mentioned like some of the films that inspired you, but I'm going to kind of go to that a bit first. Was there like a favorite actor or film type of role that you were really drawn to, or what was it?
Well, I really liked Emma Stone a lot. It's kind of a silly one, but when Zombieland came out, like seeing her as just this really cool, tough girl, I just felt inspired and I was like, oh, I want people to view me as cool and tough because I'm so shy and nervous. So it was just, that was kind of inspiring. And then just like musicals, I loved musicals like Sound of Music and Fiddler on the Roof and things like that.
Yeah. Did you see Double Tap? Of Zombieland 2?
Oh, I did. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That was hilarious.
It was very funny. Yeah. Lots of fun.
Yeah. Okay. I guess like aside from that, like your favorite actor, obviously. And then like musicals, do you sing? Is that you do?
I do, yeah. I sing. It's more of a hobby, but I did take some voice lessons with a wonderful teacher kind of during the pandemic. We did it over Zoom actually, and it worked really well. So I love to sing. A lot of times it's just kind of for myself, more of a hobby, but I enjoy writing music if I'm feeling really emotional and, just, yeah.
Cool.
So you mentioned, that you've kind of dabbled and you want to dabble more behind the camera. Moving forward, what role in filmmaking maybe that you haven't tried, or because there's so many, kind of intrigues you the most? Like, what's one where you're like, you know what, at some point I definitely want to dip my toe there and just experience it.
Yeah. I mean, I think directing would be really cool. Um, and the cinematography would be fun too, because I feel like I'm very visual, and so that would just be cool to experience. Right now, I'm actually taking a screenwriting class, so I'd want to be able to
Oh
write a
wow.
little bit, but doing that, I'm like, okay, this is really hard. Maybe I should stick to acting.
Yeah, writing is quite a process because then
Yeah.
you're starting with like nothing and you're creating everything. So it's
Yep.
like where do you even begin really? So
Exactly.
yeah. But like yeah, I feel the same way. I did a or similarly as far as directing goes because I did one that was adapted. So I didn't
Hmm.
have to write anything myself. I just just directed it instead. So it was
Oh,
kind of
nice.
nice to just do something like that.
Yeah,
Um
that's
yeah.
awesome. Do you feel like
And I
it'd
feel
be?
like with
Oh,
you go ahead.
oh. Well, I was just curious if uh, I just always wonder if it would be like easier to direct something that you wrote versus directing something that someone else wrote. So I was just curious, Alan.
Yeah, it actually felt easier doing someone else's work,
Yeah,
honestly, because you're not as like, I don't want to say not attached to it as much, but you're not as, I don't know if that's not the right word, but you're not as involved, I suppose, in the writing then, but you're
yeah,
involved with the interpretation of it.
yeah.
So
That makes
that's a little more freeing. I don't know. It just felt, I don't know, less pressure,
yeah,
because if you
that makes
write
sense.
and direct, then it's like it's all you, you know,
Yeah, I
and
feel
it's
like
all
then,
on you to
yeah,
deliver, because you know
makes
what's in
sense.
your head or what you had in mind for the page. Whereas if you're directing someone else's writing, it's really what you take away from the writing because it can be interpreted in many ways. Like just saying a simple phrase as acting, unless you're given a certain direction. So, yeah, what's a phrase that you can use all the time? It's just like yeah, that can be interpreted like so many different ways. You can just use the same line, but in different moods or tones.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. Um, Speaking of which, do you have a acting process that is there a part of the process and what is your process kind of like? Are you more method? Are you more, I don't know, like to the script, like theater, or like what's your process really, and what do you love the most?
Ooh, that's a good question too. So I mean, my process is, kind of reading the script and then kind of trying to break it down into beats and like kind of thinking of a backstory for my character, just to
Hmm.
kind of think about, their past, what they've experienced, what their family is like, that would make them react certain ways in the film. So I suppose that's kind of a main thing. Also, like I took some classes that we focused on Stanislavski, so I'd kind of break it down into those chunks sometimes too. But I'm always kind of experimenting because there's so many different ways to approach it. So still always looking for like the best way, I guess.
Yeah. Do you have
Yeah.
like, oh, are you gonna say something, Johanna?
Oh, I was just going to say, have you found that some pieces of the process work better, maybe with certain like genres or types of scripts versus others? And um, so, as have one project that's maybe a drama and a large role and a feature, and there's so much complexity there that you need to do extra steps in your process, or it kind of even molds into something different as you're going through, or do you find that it's pretty easy to like stick to the same process across the board and that helps you to just stay as prepared as possible?
Yeah, so far I feel like it is kind of just stick to the same process of, just breaking down the character and like I was mentioning, like coming up with a backstory. And I feel like that's kind of the main way at the moment anyway.
And that's another part of writing, as you may have discovered, is just like, who are these people and
Yeah,
where do they come from? What do they do? What do they
exactly.
wear? You know, it's like their whole life, basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or you can get that involved, I
Yeah.
suppose. Um,
Yeah. I like to know, the who, what, where, why, how, all of it.
yeah. Yeah, it involves a lot of empathy too as an actor, I'm sure,
Hmm.
because you have to do your research and
Yeah.
how do they talk, you know, like what's,
Hmm.
and then the director may have a completely different idea of that, you know, and
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Exactly.
Yeah. And all of those things really inform the choices that the character would make and inform how you can go about it. So yeah, it's fun. I agree. A really cool experience. I like all the things that you go through there.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you.
so as you've, really entered the community and this is a career, doing film and even commercial and everything, have you, progressed in your acting career so far as you've maybe expected, or, is there just so much more that you want to be doing, or, maybe you're like, I didn't really even expect anything, and I'm so excited to be where I'm at, or like where kind of what has your uh, journey been like?
Yeah. I guess I went into it not like really expecting anything specific, just to, kind of give me an excuse to like better myself as a human, by taking different classes, acting classes and improv, and just getting to meet so many amazing people in the community. So it's, I mean, I suppose more than I expected, I guess. And, always just meeting new people and working on new projects and experiencing different things. So it's been really nice.
yeah. Um, what are some of those favorite roles that you've played so far? We know, or I know at least, you've appeared in at least two Z-Fest films of this year, at least,
Yeah.
and they're up for awards.
Yes.
But yeah, tell us about what have been your favorites in general.
Yeah. Well, I mean, every role is really fun in their own way, of course.
Right.
But Alien Hunter, who, I just did for Z Fest, the role was just really fun because it was kind of, it's a comedy. So it was kind of just like a really, like I was this kind of oracle who is, I think that I know everything. I think that, things are communicating with me, but I really don't at all. But I very strongly believe I do. And they come
Right.
to me like hoping that I can solve their problem. And I just don't at all. And, I got to help out with the set design for that too and figure out my wardrobe and stuff. So it was kind of just a fun, lighthearted thing that I had a lot of fun at doing. And then last year I worked on a local feature called Peer Pressure that will be coming out sometime this year. And the character is just, it's a classic cabin slasher. And my character is just like a one in the friend group that was kind of really just like tough, and I don't trust other people except for my best friend. And it was just kind of one of those characters where I'm like, yay, I'm playing a cool tough girl. So that was nice.
Who's the director?
The director is of course I'm drawing a
Le-
blank all of a
Lexi, is it? I can't
Oh yeah.
pronounce her last name.
uh, I know I should know how to pronounce it. Kayaker.
Okay, cool. And this
Yeah.
is a feature?
Yeah, it's a feature, so we filmed it
Wow. That's
last fall.
ambitious.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Great group of people. We just always had so much fun on set, and yeah, it was really nice.
Look forward to seeing it around maybe some of the local fests.
Yeah,
Or yeah.
yeah, we'll see what they end up doing with it. And then Let Me Have My Son, of course, was just a bigger set. I had a smaller role on it, but it was also, kind of a meaningful film. And yeah, it was just fun to be a part of.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
You've had a pretty good range of, roles and types of films that you've been in. Is there a favorite genre that having experienced so many, that you really like being in, acting in, or is there even a genre where you're like, man, if I could get my hands on doing this, like that would be amazing?
Well, it's definitely would be, I really want to get my hands on a musical so bad. It hasn't happened yet, but I would just, love to be able to train more with my voice teacher and just like be able to be in a fun musical. Like I really enjoyed La La Land when that came out. So yeah, I think that'd be really fun. And then just being a part of comedies, I think are great, because drama, like I always felt really connected with it because I'm very, feel my emotions very strongly. But comedy is just, I'm realizing, is so much fun. I mean, everything is fun, of course, but comedy is just, a different level, and it's something I'm still working on.
Right.
Perfecting comedy, because there's so much that goes into the timing and everything.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Comedy sells well to a crowd, especially like in a big theater filled from like Z-Fast, for instance.
Oh, exactly. Yep.
Or even Scream It Off Screen, for instance. Yeah.
Yeah.
A thing or two about that. Let's hear about that.
Oh yeah, I love Scream It Off Screen.
Tell us about the May 5th Scream It Off Screen.
Yeah, so for people that don't know what Scream It Off Screen is, you should definitely look it up. It's happens the first Friday of every month, and it is a short film competition gong show. So filmmakers submit their films, and then, depending on the length of the film, at a certain point, a red light comes on, and then people can yell like gong if they don't like it, or if people want to keep watching it when that happens, everyone else yells let it play, and then it's kind of who's louder. They get to, either we get to watch the film or we don't. So I've submitted some stuff to that, and it's just a great group of people. I love the hosts, Harry and Natalie. They're great. So yeah, the May 5th one, the Dumpling was on it, and they won first place and the prize, and the crowd loved it. Tristan had talked about, he had talked about how he really wanted to make something geared towards that crowd, because he knew they liked, comedy. They liked just kind of weird things. Yeah. So he was so excited, and he's come up close to winning, I think 2 times before this. And yeah, he's a great filmmaker. He's doing some good stuff. He's going to be graduating soon, and excited to work with him sometime again. So I did have a small voiceover in that film. Just left a voicemail on the phone. So
nice.
Yeah.
Is that, no, not giving anything away, is that the one he's like, mulling about or whatever,
You've been like talking about, or
in the film The Dumpling?
Oh, like what happens in it?
For your character, is yours?
I mean mine.
Pining over?
Or no, mine's not. It's
it's
a different character. No, I come in, or I call as a friend, like kind of checking in on him.
Okay.
To see if he's doing okay after.
That's right. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So very small, but still exciting to be in it, because it's up for a bunch of awards too, and for Z-Fest. Yeah.
Literally no small role. Anything like that is still
very
super
true.
fun and
very
exciting
true.
to be a part of. So,
oh my gosh, yeah, it was great.
So we touched on, your genres, your hopes and preferences with genres. Mm-hmm. So knowing that, and you've talked about like Emma Stone and her movies, La La Land, but are there any other films that have been maybe the most influential or inspiring to you in your career so far?
Yes. Let's see. I really loved the movie 500 Days of Summer when that came out.
Oh yeah.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Zoe Deschanel and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and it was just so like I remember watching it in theaters. I think I got a sneak preview, so it, felt extra exciting.
Yes.
And it was just so unexpected. It wasn't your typical love story. I mean, it was, but it didn't end how you expected. So I just remember feeling like, oh, that's so powerful. Like it doesn't have to go the way that you expect. So that was a really fun one. And I liked Across the Universe when that came out also. Just like all the Beatles music was so much fun and also inspired me to want to keep singing. And just movies are so inspiring, and that's why we love them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Across the Universe was brilliant. The way that they did that. So
I loved it. Yeah.
Understandable.
Yes. Oh, and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind also comes to mind because that was just very, done so beautifully and just so interesting.
Yeah, you mentioned you want to do musicals. Have you done like any theater training for like musical theater or something, or?
I've only been in one play before. Well, it was a series of one acts last year for Fearless Five Comedy. That was a blast. So I was in 3 of the 5 one acts, and one of them it was based on Dungeons and Dragons, and my character,
nice.
I was trying to like get the main character to leave his party and kind of be with me and pursue music with me. So I got to play my ukulele on stage and sing this song that's talking about you can't be an artist unless you're sad. And so that was just so much fun. Yeah. And then the other one was No Small Parts, which is actually just became she wrote a feature. Well, is it feature length when it's a play? I suppose that's what you say, right?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I know what you mean. It's like not a short one. It's like a
like the full
3-act play or something.
Yeah, exactly. So so it's basically just about that there's no small parts in acting. So kind of showing the stories of people that are playing the smaller roles in theater, like people that are playing a tree or just people in the background. So actually right now I'm going to see it on Thursday because I think it's playing through this weekend at Mounds Theater. So that's very exciting. Sorry, I kind of got off on a tangent because of that. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's one of those things like the music is just so catchy and it's, it feels like one of those things that could turn into like a bigger play that could tour, so that's very exciting.
Like you could also have you done like Fringe Fest, I think it's called, right?
Yeah, I haven't actually. I would like to. It's theater is it is. I mean, theater is just such a blast and totally different in its own way. It's just the time commitment is definitely the tricky part with it. So it's hard to, balance film and auditions and commercials and, regular life and also do a play. I applaud people that do it because it's very impressive. And I did it for a few months with the plays that I was in. And yeah, I mean, it was awesome. And maybe I'll try to find one to be in this year because that would be great.
Yeah. Aside from that, aside from musicals, of course, well, maybe it is, but is there something you really want to do now more than ever since things are kind of, coming back here? So.
Oh yeah, with all of the incentives and everything.
Yeah, and post lockdown and everything.
Yeah. Yes, of course, musicals, which we already talked about. I mean, that's kind of my number one. I mean, I would love if, sometime some like cool actors that I admired growing up would like come here and be on a movie, and just to like get to hang out with them, I guess that would be awesome.
It could happen, right?
I know, you
Yeah.
never know.
The incentives.
I know,
We'll
it's
see.
very exciting. Yeah.
Got to move to Duluth or
I know, that's what it seems like,
Chisholm.
right? Yeah. Yeah, that seems like the place to be. And I thought Minneapolis would be the place to be.
Right. Yeah. I mean, obviously short film heaven, but
Yeah, oh, definitely.
yeah, I think we'll see what pops up here because then, you
Yeah.
know, bigger productions as well as our rebate for short films and so, or, you
Yeah.
know, lower indie features
Yep.
can be made
Yep.
here.
And, yeah, and the episodics and everything.
hmm
Yep.
Very
It'd be
exciting.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving up in the world.
Exactly. You're getting there.
Yeah, exactly.
So Joy, what's like next for you? Like what's coming up?
Yeah. So right now I do have just a few projects that are coming up this summer. One, I'm going to do a comedy Minneapolis-based series. It'll be called Playtonic. I don't know how much they want me to share, but it's like a group of friends, and yeah, I never know how much I can share about things. So that's very
Sure.
exciting. Exciting because it's a comedy. And then I'll have a small role in Vanessa Horrocks. I assume you guys know her. She did Sins of the Father and stuff. But has an upcoming film this summer, and I have a small role in that one.
Another
And,
feature?
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, it'll be, you know, I mean, there are no small roles. I'm very, very excited to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And then just some people I know we're gonna work on a boxing film in the fall. So I just started training for boxing. So I'm very
Yes.
excited
Fun.
for that. Yeah. So I'm gonna get nice and strong and good at boxing.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Action sequences in films are the most fun. You
Oh,
don't
yeah.
expect them to be, but once you do, you're going to get hooked. So
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, actually, I suppose I haven't
Yeah.
done too much. And I've done like smaller fight
Mhm.
things, but yeah, this is going to be totally different. So I'm very excited.
Yeah. It was different for
awesome.
me when I did Dana versus Judy. And
Oh
it
yeah,
was just
that
like,
was so fun.
is like, I don't know what I'm doing. Luckily, we had a good fight choreographer and who
Yeah,
understood what we needed to accomplish. So,
yeah, it turned out great. I saw it at
Oh,
Zeke. That
thank
was
you.
super fun. Yeah.
I was just fishing for a comment. No, I'm just
Oh,
kidding. I'm just kidding.
Well, it was. And I know both of the main actresses, and they're both
Right.
wonderful people. So
Yeah, I love the energy in the theater because, like, you promote it as much as you can beforehand, and by the time you get to the moment of the fight, it's just kind of like, yes, people want to see this fight. It's
yeah,
like,
oh, definitely. Yeah, it was great.
great.
I mean, honestly, like that, seeing that made me like, oh, I want to do boxing. And then
Yeah.
like a couple weeks later, somebody was like, hey, we're doing this boxing movie. Would you want to do this? I was like,
Ooh.
yes. So, yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah.
Is it
So
a
talk about
short
manifesting.
or a feature? or-
it will be a feature, so it's gonna
Ooh.
be a lot of work. It's gonna be lots of fun. But yeah, like I said, like things inspire you. Like your boxing thing, it reminded me that I always wanted to learn boxing, and then this opportunity came, and I was like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, yes.
Wow, that's great. Do you?
Yeah.
You said it shoots in the fall.
Yep. Yeah, and we're aiming for October.
Who's directing? Can you say or?
It'll be oh gosh, of course. Like, I mean, well, we'll wait on it.
Okay.
It's a smaller project. But yeah, he's done some good short films and stuff around town.
If it's a feature, yeah, that's again ambitious. But good.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you can go full length with it,
yeah,
um,
exactly.
That'll be really fun.
those are really cool things coming up for you. I like that. That's good. 2023 is
yeah.
looking good.
I know, it's so great. I feel like every year it gets better and better with film stuff. So it's really amazing to be able to be a part of projects, and just like the community is so good here. Like I love going to events and
Yes.
talking to people, and yeah, I think we have a lot going for us here.
Yes. I do love seeing people show up here too. It's good to see more options to see each other more often too. So
Definitely.
So where can people follow you, find your work, and see what you're up to next?
Yeah, I mean, mainly my Instagram right now. I keep meaning to make a website, and now that we're doing this, I am going to make a website, so there will be a website. But yeah, my Instagram is just joyford_official. I didn't know if I wanted to be like Joy Ford actor, if that was too like specific. But anyway, so that's my Instagram, and yeah, I'll work on a website, and then IMDb, of course, kind of the main things.
Yeah. Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, Joy, we've got one more big question for you. It really is the big one.
The big question.
The big question. So what do you want people to remember most about you?
Ooh, that is a big
Whether
question.
it's working with you, watching your films, anything at all.
Well, I would hope that people would just remember that, just think about that I'm a kind person and supportive and, hopefully enjoyable to work with, that I'm, hardworking, and just, I would hope that I could be an inspiration to people to pursue their passions and do what they want to do, just because we only have this life, and, you might as well make the most of it and not spend your life doing a job that you can't stand. I mean, there's, obviously you have to pay your bills, but there are ways to do it. And so I think it's important just to do it,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Lovely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time, for hopping on and chatting with us. It's been really great getting to talk and meet you.
Yeah, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for having me on here. It was very, just like when you reached out, I was like, are you serious? That's amazing. Thank you. So thank you for having me. It means a lot.
Yeah, you did great work with Z-Fest, those two Z-Fest films, I thought.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah. Skip was awesome as well. I should have mentioned it earlier, but yeah.
Yeah, right.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. And for our listeners, until next time, this has been Film in Minnesota.